Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my review of Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. This video is not going to be entirely spoiler free. The first few minutes of the video will be spoiler free so that if you've not read the book, you'll get an idea of what it is about and what you can expect from it. And after that, I want to discuss a little bit of spoilers because I want to tell you guys what I liked and did not like about this book. So without any further ado, let's get into the review right away. For the spoiler-free part, starting with the plot, we follow two storylines with two different main characters, and of these, the first main character is 15-year-old Kafka Tamura, who escapes from Tokyo from his father because he's been living with him and he does not like him because his mother and sister had left him when he was very young itself. Now Kafka goes to the small town named Takamatsu, and there he finds this 21-year-old librarian named Oshima, and Oshima helps Kafka in order to live in Takamatsu without getting involved in any kind of problem because he's a minor. At the same time, Kafka is also a person who's a very avid reader. That's the main reason why he meets Oshima in the library. So the first storyline follows Kafka and what happens to him inside Takamatsu. The second storyline is that of a very old man named Nakata, who because of some accident that happened in his childhood is completely illiterate. He's not able to read, at the same time he's not able to count. He's not that bright a person if we have to say it in his own words. Nakata does something in Tokyo and he also leaves Tokyo in order to go to some place which he doesn't even know where he has to go. So he just hitchhikes, and while he's hitchhiking he gets the help of this truck driver named Hoshino, and Hoshino helps Nakata in order to go to the place that he wants to go, even though they are both not sure where Nakata is headed towards. At a particular point we see both of these stories converging, but it does not happen until the very end of the book. But the way in which the author actually takes them together and explains them to us is really interesting. So as a plot, I can say that it is very solid, though we follow two different storylines. Moving on to the characters, we have a very limited set of characters in this one because we just follow two different storylines, right? And both of these two main characters are helped by different side characters, and they are the other casting for the story excluding the main characters. For example, Kafka is helped by this librarian named Oshima, and the owner of this private library is Miss Saeki. And apart from these two people, there is also this girl named Sakura who also ends up helping Kafka during his journey. So these are the three main characters apart from Kafka that we see in his storyline. On the other storyline, that is that of Nakata, we just see him as well as Hoshino, who's the truck driver that helped Nagata in order to get to the place that he wants to go. As I said before, the casting of characters is very limited, but the stories that we get of those characters as backstories to us is really interesting because they feel like very unique, different people with a past and with a life of their own, and they are not just characters who are supporting our main character throughout the story. Moving on to the writing, I can say that the writing is the strongest as well as kind of a weak point for the book if you ask me, because it is a very peculiar type of writing style which I've not ever seen in any of the books that I've read so far in my life. And I can easily say that Kafka on the Shore is the weirdest of all the books that I've read so far, and I don't think that is going to be the case in the future because I'm planning to read a lot more of this author's works. The narration of the story itself is very calm, though the things that happen inside the plot of the story are nothing even close to being calm because there are some dynamic things that are happening continuously in each and every chapter, but the way in which he has narrated them and shows it to us readers is super calm. Sometimes that calmness itself is very unsettling and it also makes us feel uncomfortable, and I think that's the reason which made me like his writing style. At the same time, his writing is super descriptive. Okay, so if you don't like descriptive writing, I don't think Kafka on the Shore will be a book for you, because this edition which I have right now, which I read from, is 615 pages long, and if we cut off the description and just go on with the story alone, I'm sure that the book will not even cross 350 pages. There is that much description. So if you get bored of description, you'll very easily get bored of this book because in each and every chapter there's a ton of description in order to make the book feel that much atmospheric, and I think I liked that very much because I like atmospheric books very much, and the way in which he has used the description in order to put us inside that atmosphere was very compelling for me. It just made the book feel a lot more addictive for me. I wanted to pick up the book and read, even though it made me feel uncomfortable at instances. So as a whole, I can say that the writing of this book can be summed up using a single word, that is weird. It might sound shocking for you saying that the writing style itself is weird, at the same time I enjoyed it, but that's the best way I can describe the writing style of this author because it just felt weird but in a good way. Finally, in the spoiler free part, talking about the pacing of this book, I can say that this book is super slow paced, okay, and the thing which I liked about that slow pacing also was that it was consistent throughout the book. It was not like we get one chapter which is slow paced and the next chapter fast paced in order to compensate for that. There was no compensation at all. Starting from chapter 1 to the last chapter, each and everything was very slow, and I think that is one of the main reasons the book is also atmospheric in its nature, because we don't get to experience anything just like this and move on. The author just provides us this insane description and immerses us inside the story and makes us experience the thing along with the characters. I said that the writing style of this author is weird, right? So it did make me uncomfortable during multiple instances, but in spite of that, I enjoyed the experience of reading this book. I'll not say that I loved the book, but the experience of reading this book was very delightful for me as a reader. So as a whole, I rated Kafka on the Shore 4 stars, and I'm sure that I'm going to read a lot more Murakami books in the future. I actually have one in my shelf already, which is Killing Community, so I think I'll be reading it pretty soon. Let's just wait and see when I'm going to pick it up. And that's it for the spoiler-free part. Now I'm going to discuss spoilers, so if you've not read the books and don't want to get spoiled for it, I'd suggest you to get out of the video right now. But if you have read the book, please stay on and feel free to discuss the spoilers along with me, because I think this is a book which can be comprehended by different people in different ways, and I'm just trying to articulate the things which I liked as well as did not like about the book. Now getting into the spoilers, I'm not going to discuss a lot of things, just a little bit. First, I want to talk about the sheer amount of description inside this book. I liked the descriptions when it came to the setup as the book as a whole, but when he went on describing the various actions that the characters do, like brewing coffee or tea or showering and various other things, it just felt a bit annoying for me, because even without all those things, they are just understood by us readers, and it's not necessary to bring it up each and every time that a character is doing something. So that was a bit off-putting for me. The next thing is that our main character, Kafka in this one, is a 15-year-old, but he just felt so mature for a 15-year-old for me, if you ask me. If it was so in a young adult book, I can understand that that is the kind of appeal that young adult books have, but this is definitely not a young adult book. It is clearly adult, but the way in which he depicted a young adult character and the things that he makes the young adult character do inside the plot of the book itself was a bit uneasy to read. But rather than anything, I can easily say that Kafka just felt so mature for a 15-year-old, and that did not feel good in any way for me. Moving on to Nakata's storyline, I can say that that is my most favorite part of the book, because Nakata has this very interesting backstory. At the same time, his character is very light, but the backstory that he has is so heavy in its nature. The way in which the author has melded these two together, that is showing that very mild and mellow character of Nakata while having such a tragic backstory for him, was very interesting to read, and it just added a lot of layers for the book, if you ask me. And also the age difference between the two main characters inside this book is staggeringly high, right? Because we have one main character as a teenager and the other main character as a very elderly person who's nearly in his 60s or 70s. So that age gap was also very interesting, because there are various things that happen for both of them, but the way in which they see the things that happen to them from the experiences that they have had in their separate lives is super unique and engaging. Next, I want to talk about the weirdest part of this book, if you ask me, because it just made me feel so uncomfortable, and that is the sex scenes. Okay, I'm sure that many adult books have sex scenes in them, but the way in which he has written those scenes was super irritating and annoying for me also, because it just made me feel so uncomfortable and not at all at ease while I was reading the story. I was not even able to pay attention while I was reading the book, because it just made me feel so queasy and uncomfortable in many levels, but I was not able to skip them because it just felt like these scenes had some importance that is going to be revealed on the later of the book. But I don't think there was that much significance for the sex scenes that the author has written here. Especially the scenes between Kafka and Sayeki as well as Sakura were very irritating, and I also don't think that they were necessary for the story to progress on. They are not even that much explicit, but the calm nature that the author has in his narration style while he's even narrating those scenes to us was very unsettling for me, because I just felt like, what am I reading right now, and does it even add something for the story as a whole? That's definitely a thing which I'm a bit hesitant of when it comes to me, since I plan to read his other books also. Another thing which I did not like about the book was that there are some scenes inside the book which just feel like they are biologically impractical in every way, because towards the end of the book we have the scene where the crow comes and picks out the eyes of a man, and the man is actually seeing himself being picked by the crow and being put to death. If the person is here and he's experiencing all these things, how will he be able to see all those things from a space that is out of himself? I don't understand that. And the next one was that we see one of our main characters from the past, while she's being aroused, she gets her period then and there. I'm not sure whether that is a possibility biologically or not. I'm not sure about that. Since it is magical realism, I can understand that all these things are just made up by the author in order to provide that proper atmosphere and ambience of the story to us. But there are many things which are very normal and super practical that the author talks about throughout the book, especially using Oshima's character. But while he was writing all these other scenes, I don't know where that logic and practicality went. Finally, I want to talk about the thing which I loved the most about the writing of this book, and it is the fact that the author managed to touch a lot of subjects which are necessary, like science, spirituality, philosophy, literature, music, art, sex and sexuality, and many other things. The way in which he has included all of these and made it not overwhelming was very nice. That just makes it like there is something for every person that reads this book to take out from there. And I also think that that is one of the main reasons why this author has that many fans. I cannot say that Kafka on the Shore has become one of my favorite books, but I definitely did love the experience of reading this book completely. It's not a book that I love, but a reading experience which I completely enjoyed. I'm hoping to get the same kind of experience from his other books also. Let's just wait and see whether it's going to happen or not. So yeah, as a whole, I enjoyed Kafka on the Shore, and if you read it and liked it or did not like it, please tell me the reasons in the comments below and we can discuss. And if you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.